GM. Does this work? I think this works. I think it works.
All right, guys, let's get started. Week 7, right? We did it. Before we jump into the slides, I want to bring Paul up to say a few words. We've been at Edge this whole time, so super grateful to have this space to be able to facilitate this. But really, let's thank Paul and the Edge team for allowing us to come here, to use the space, and host this bootcamp.
Hey, everybody. Great job. It's been, 7 weeks all coming together? 12? Did I get it wrong? It feels like 12. I see. It's, a dozen. Feels like a dozen weeks. But wanted to thank everyone for coming out. I know it feels like, hey, you're grateful to us, but we're grateful to also be able to meet and interact with a lot of the community. One of our core values at Edge is community. And we don't even measure what we call like our ROI on it. We just really love giving back and providing, admittedly, the space isn't used on the weekend. We want to make sure that it's utilized to its fullest extent. And if it's going to help grow the crypto and Ethereum ecosystem, then we're all about it. And want to congratulate everyone for job well done. Hope that you guys really push forward this ecosystem and get other people involved as well. I want to leave with a little bit of an ask. I talked to Chad about this, I think, yesterday. And so you know what we are here at Edge and what we're building. And one of the things, in addition to community, that's strong in our values is also privacy. One of the problems with that is it's hard for us to know what to build and hard to know how we're doing with what we build. And so my ask out of you guys is to give us that feedback. I'd love to be able to maybe run into you guys one day and hear one of two things. And either answer is 100% legit, which is either I use Edge on a regular basis, or here's why I don't. I'm 100% okay with it. Actually, I almost prefer the second because it's honesty, and we are always looking to improve. But because we don't know a lot about our user base, we really look to the community such as you guys to help us out with that. So that's my little ask, and with that, we're going to continue to, at the best that we can, give back to the community and offer the space for future boot camps, events, and whatnot. And we're always open ears. Definitely come ping, come by, say hi. For those of you that might be off into other parts of the world after this. But glad to have everybody here and look forward to some future events and elevating the space. Thanks a lot.
Awesome. So again, big shout out to Edge. This is only possible with Edge, and let's do whatever we can to give some feedback to the team, just for their continued support of the ETH SD Bootcamp. So you guys did it, right? This is 7 weeks in the making. This came together kind of ad hoc. It was trial by fire. This was the first bootcamp we did, and I'm just really proud of everybody. Really excited for what's to come, and great job to everyone that made it here today. So congrats to you guys, really. This wasn't an easy bootcamp either, right? This wasn't just like 4 weeks of basic Solidity. This was really breaking down the fundamentals of building on top of Ethereum, learning data structures like Merkle trees, going into the weeds of what a blockchain is, what consensus is, and then we ended with really diving into the EVM and learning Solidity. So great job, everybody. Bootcamp logistics, it's going to be the same as every week, except today we have a little wrap-up celebration. So we'll do our usual programming up until 2 p.m. And then from 2 to 3, we'll have some food brought in and some drinks, and we can hang out, listen to music, and just vibe out. You guys aren't done, right? There's still a final project, so keep that in mind. So here we are, right? So, week 7, Solidity Next Level. I wish Greg was here because he always wears a Superman shirt, right? So what does the S stand for? Shadowy supercoders. Hopefully you guys are all shadowy supercoders now and are going to kill it in this final. So I want to revisit the final project real quick. There was some updates that I made on Discord, so I'll just reiterate those here. So the goal is to build a full stack dApp, right? This means front end and back end Solidity and potentially some middleware if you're using a node server or some database to store some state. This is actually going to be due March 5th. So it's going to be 2 weeks from today. And there is no project due week 7. So you guys actually have 2 weeks, full 2 weeks to work on this and no week 7 project. So I hope that's enough time. The other thing is we're allowing teams of up to 3. So I know there's some folks here that have already teamed up, but if you haven't found a team, I would really advise finding one, because it's only going to help you become a better developer and you can offload some of the work, right? And then the fourth thing is, for those folks going to ETH Denver, you can use your hackathon project in Denver as your submission, right? We don't want you guys to do like twice the work. So if you're already going to submit a hack, you can use that for this project. Lastly, there's a rubric here that has been pretty much filled out, and we'll share this with you guys. We'll show that afterwards. But the key points are, we'll be grading sort of all the way up the stack from front end, smart contracts, testing, design, and your problem statement, right? We'll have a specific section to make sure you kind of explain the value add, the value proposition of the project, kind of the target audience of this project, and really explaining like how this fits in into the current space, right? So being creative with this, looking to be innovative is recommended, and then you always have the list from Alliance DAO to look at if you guys need motivation. Also, just come up to us and ask questions, right? If you guys have an idea, more than happy to kind of validate it or point you in the right direction, and the mentors are here to do that as well. So if you don't have an idea yet for the final project, we can totally jam on that today. Let's talk about the course completion certificate. So at the end of this course, we're giving out an NFT credential to everyone that passes the course. We're asking a passing score of 90% across all projects and the final project. And we've had some questions on this, right? Because grades have kind of been skewed. Or not skewed, but there's been kind of a distribution across the board. Some projects have been harder than others. So we will implement a grading curve. But I would highly suggest everyone to submit all your projects and make sure you do the final, because that one's heavily weighted, right? Most weeks have been either 10 to 20 points. The final project will be around 70 points, so that's going to weigh a lot towards your final grade. And with that credential, I want to ask everyone, who's actually looking for a Web3 job here? Okay, so kind of like half the class, right? So that's awesome, because with this credential, we'll be able to invite you guys into the Metacrafters Web3 Talent Collective, which is kind of an exclusive collective where job recruiters can tap into students in that collective and directly talk to them and network with them. So it's like more of a direct funnel towards hiring in Web3. The second thing is we also have a partnership with Chainlink to get you guys directly into a direct channel to their recruiters, so you don't have to go through the typical process. If you pass the ETH SD Bootcamp and you get a credential, we can recommend you directly to their recruiters. The third thing is we're consistently working with more partners, so look out for that, and we'll continue to add that in the Discord as well. So we don't want this to be just like one event, right? You guys come in for a boot camp and you leave. We want to make sure we stay like as a family and we help everybody kind of excel in their careers. So week 6 recap. Did anyone mint a CryptoKitty? Do you guys remember those? Those are like the first NFTs, right? Pretty crazy. They actually it kind of broke Ethereum in a way, right? The transaction costs just went through the roof. Things just stopped working. So this week we learned about ERC 721s, aka NFTs. We also learned about tokens. So who was there for the ICO boom? You guys remember those tokens? Just everybody's dropping a token, raising millions of dollars, and then just rugging. Yeah. So you guys learned about how to make those, right? I don't suggest you try to do that, especially nowadays. The SEC will come after you. So we can talk a little bit about that. Just kidding. We learned about inheritance, right? How to chain contracts together, how to build larger projects, and then multi-sigs.
I'm not a lawyer, but I would suggest you don't rug anybody.
Exactly, yeah. We do have a lawyer here in the room, right? There we go. Right on. So week 6 project submissions, we did this a little bit differently. We're constantly iterating on the rubric, right? This is our first time, so apologies if things kind of change week to week. We're trying to make this better and more robust. But there was 2 projects and then 1 challenge, right? Maybe there was some confusion on the bucket challenge, and I want to clear this up. The reason we asked for not just an Ether scan URL, but a signed message, is because anybody can just take a Etherscan URL and submit that. And how do you prove that's actually you, right? The only thing you can prove is that you own a private key. So by signing a message from the deployer key of that contract, and then providing the Etherscan URL proves that that was actually you, because we make the assumption that only you own that private key. So that was the reason for having a signed message. And that's kind of something that I think most courses should require, although sometimes they just require an Etherscan link. So thanks to Toby for kind of making this really robust. It's good practice here. And then we had 2 projects which are somewhat similar, right? One of them was an ERC20 indexer. The other was an NFT indexer. So the idea here was, are you able to sort of pull data from the blockchain and display that in a pretty way? And so you guys could choose from 6 different design topics, right? From wallet integration to ENS support. I don't think anyone did load optimization, but if you did, great job. Hopefully you did some error checking and token balance formatting. Any questions on the rubric? Okay, cool. How about just in general, week 6 questions recap? Multi-sigs, inheritance, ERC20s. Yeah, who finished the bucket challenge? Okay, so maybe we can go over that afterwards. We'll go through that afterwards. I think that's a good project. Who knows what 1155s are? ERC 1155s. Okay, cool. Yeah. Anyone want to? I'm just testing. We're seeing where everyone's at here. I know. GM. There's coffee. There's Dunkin' Donuts. You get your sugar rush on. Come on. All right, cool. Let's jump into demos, right? I think we've got at least 2 demos. So I think I'll invite Bapic up first, and then we'll do Namdar. And if anyone else has demos, we'll do those too. But let's give it up for Bapic.
Yeah, I'll get the levels working. I'll turn this off. If you want to take this one or anything else.
Yeah. I'll swap you.
I'll swap you, bro.
I need my coffee too.
GM. Well, my computer's booting up, so let's not make sure I'm doxing myself by accident here. Hello. Hi, how's it going? I'll probably put it on. That's probably a better idea. See, advantages of a front hood. Look at that. It's like perfect placement. Ooh. Okay, let me just log in. Let's make sure you're working. Off. Okay, let me get my other one we're running here. ERC20 indexer. Let's close my other one. NFT indexer. Let's just end that. Okay, give me 1 sec. NPM run dev. NPM starts. There we go. Let's run in something. Let's see if we can get it up and going. Okay, I got a website and it should be working. Ooh, okay, dokie. So this is going to be very generic. Feel free to judge me if you want.
It's a safe space. If it works, it works.
There we go. So let me just bring up my thing. Cool. Ooh, fancy. So we have a magical ERC20 token thingy going on. And something that's pretty cool about this is we have our MetaMask wallet and stuff. So if you want to connect our wallet, we just click up here. Oh, but it's already logged in. So let me just disconnect it real quick just to make sure it's proper here. So disconnect. And then let's log in with my other one. Yeah, let's just have some fun with this. So count 1. And then now. So let's just reconnect this. Connect wallet. Ooh, fancy. Next, connect. And then, oh, nothing happened. Why is that? Well, you don't want to just log in and have all your stuff show up. So only show it if you want it to show, right? So then we can go, ooh, my tokens. And then blam, woo, ta-da. Then we get all the tokens. Cool thing about this is that it also supports error checking. So if you enter in some gobbledygook, we got to please enter a valid address. And if we really want, Namdar, are you cool if I use your thing? What is it, metanam? I want to say metanam. Okay, metanam, .eth, and then just get token balances, and then we can see his ERC20s. Woohoo! Woohoo! And obviously we can enter in a regular address too. So if I just copy from here. That's so funny story. Let's take a look at this. Let's just try this. And let's just like open this up at the same time just to see what happens. Oh, what's this? Do you know what that is? That is a 429 for getting rate limited. Because he has a lot of tokens and a lot of people send him spam. So that was another thing I was kind of thinking of in the long term, is possibly getting some sort of like spam checker initiated, but well, I'd have to use an API or some sort of service that kind of looks at an address. I could verify if that address is like a scam or not, and then like run it back. So I'm not sure if like Etherscan has that sort of functionality or not. Yeah, they have like spam checking. Do they have like a on that for like an API call or something? Oh, sick. I should have probably done that, but I was worried about getting it to work. So, yeah, there we go. I don't even have a logo here. I literally just have a thing that says logo. So that's eventually going to be working out. So let's take a look into the Z code. So long story short, I just decided to use Chakra, the one that they already had implemented. I just think that would be a little bit better. So let's just bump it up a bit here. There we go, a little bit better. There we go, nice. Nice. So yeah, we just basically have like an app.js. We have an env where I'm not doxing my own keys. Shout out Adrian. And I'm not gonna stop bugging you for that. That was a funny one. Oh, true. Okay, let's just make sure I click. There we go. Okay. So good call. So yeah, long story short, I'm using a bunch of different state variables. I probably could have been a bit more efficient, but I just found it was like kind of making sense to kind of have different state pieces for different kind of pieces of data. We have our config set up, and then kind of doing an error checking and kind of like an ETH kind of like verification with like an ENS domain. So this is our get token balance. So once I run this function, it kind of goes through here, imports my config. Then we do a check for an ENS. And really cool, Alchemy has a pretty cool function, just .resolve name. And you can just give it like an ETH address, and then it just like resolves whatever the actual address is from that. And then if it's not a valid address, which Ethers actually has like an imported kind of like just utility, then it just like throws an error message. Yeah, so reason I have two different arrays here is because we have the data, and then I wanted the actual addresses, because when you make the calls to Alchemy to get the balances for a like an associated token, it doesn't actually give you the address back, so you can't actually like pull it back. So I have to have two pieces of data for that, and then yeah, just getting the metadata from Alchemy. And then, yeah, just pushing to those pieces of state data there. Yeah, what's up?
Could you just explain how you pulled in your credentials?
From MetaMask?
From Vite.
Oh, Vite. So I did do it the way where it was kind of not okay, because you can, once it's compiled, it then like has it implemented like you said. I didn't know how to get around that though, like, because you have to like preface the env variable with vite. But what would the optimal way to do that?
I was just, because there was a question about, or Greg had figured this out as well, but just so everybody knows, it's explicit. You're using import.meta.env with the vite prepend. So that's just a very specific way with this particular build framework to get environmental variables in. So I just wanted to be explicit about that. The answer was what Cloud said last week, was you're probably going to use a proxy server or keep that key on the server side somehow. Yeah.
So long story short, don't use Vite. There we go.
No, Vite is fine.
Just don't use Vite.
So this is a builder. And from what I read, Cloud can clarify this, but if this is incorrect either. But from what I read, it's a very efficient builder.
Oh yeah, it's a static site generator, right? or
It does.
yeah.
But-
Oh, for sure. Yeah, create React app is like super slow. Okay. Okay, good to know. So got some good clarification on that. Awesome. So yeah, this is some of the JSX that I'm returning. So in my nav bar here, something I was really wanting to implement was this top little blocky thing. I've been looking at this library for like weeks, actually honestly like months, and I've always wanted to use it some way, and I finally got it working. And it's really cool. It's basically like this. There's like this really cool like thing here, which is basically just like, where is it? Ethereum blockies, base 64, and you basically just run an address into it, and it just renders an image. So this one's actually getting pretty popular. It's getting like 16,000 like weekly downloads. You literally just give it an address, and it spawns out like one of these little like blocky things, and it's really cool because that's how that's the same method that MetaMask is using too, and they're the same thing. So it's really cool because you kind of have like this linked avatar between the two. Like they're actually the same if you look at them. So boom and boom. And it's unique because it's like generated from the hash, right? From the address. So it's like you're always going to get the same one. But it's really cool because I know the original one was really cool. Blockies. Oh, I didn't spell that. Oh, no, I did, yeah. So here, yeah. So this one's really cool. The problem with this one, though, is that you have to like, it renders a canvas element. So it's like, I don't want to work with canvas. I just want like an image that I can size it. So, but this one's really cool because you can give it like really cool parameters. Like if you want to specify it to be in your color scheme of your app, then you can give it like a color to manually like kind of like use, and like a background color if you want to kind of make it contrast from like the background you're already using. You can have your size. And the cool thing is because these are all variables, these can alternate with dark mode or something like that. So you can have like this cool like transition with like the type of styles that you're using, like a size, a scale, and then the spot color. And this really cool thing is like this default parameter. If you like put -1, it disables it, but it like makes like a face. So if you look at these, they actually look like faces. And I never thought of that before because I just thought they just looked like random blobs from like a Pac-Man game or something. So I never really made that connection, but it makes sense now. It's like an avatar should have like a face feature, you know? So that's kind of like the default parameter of that. But yeah, so that's kind of going on with the actual block generation. And then this is the nav bar here. So this is kind of like most of like where most of the kind of like activity is happening with like MetaMask. So we have our handle login where we're pulling in our provider from our window.ethereum, which is what Toby was asking for. Took a long time to get there, but we're there. And then, yeah, and then ETH request accounts, and then we just get a response. And so I'm just doing this is basically like a ternary without an else, like basically the and. Is there like a name for that? Tobes, do you know what that is? No, I know ampersand, but it's like whatever the operator is. Yeah, whatever that operator is, yeah. So, yeah, conditional, yeah, it's just conditional. So if it exists, then we're gonna set that logged into on, and this .on is actually a chakra hook, which I kind of looked up. It was pretty fun. So set logged in is over here, and this type is actually a Boolean. You can use a Boolean, which is pretty interesting. They have like a bunch of cool hooks. So I was kind of like looking through, trying to see if I can actually use the UI library as much as possible. And to be honest, I barely knew what a hook was like 2 weeks ago. So the fact that I'm using new hooks is like, what? I'm like pretty stoked about that, I'm not gonna lie. Like even use effect or use state or anything, I was just so confused about. But I just kind of like just put my head down, just try to understand it. And now I kind of get it a little bit more, which is kind of the point of a boot camp, right? You're supposed to like learn something. So, but yeah, so. What's that? A little bit, yeah. Just a little bit, bit by bit, and then it kind of compounds on top of each other, you know. Yeah, that's mainly it. Kind of connect your wallet button. It pulls that handle login function, which we just looked at. Yeah, Toby?
Just curious why you put the wallet interaction in your nav bar.
So I mainly wanted that because that's kind of the convention that I've seen in other websites.
Why is that?
Why is that?
Why is that a convention?
I mean, it's think of it like in terms of like if you're on Facebook or any other profile, you know, like all your profile has always been kind of like in the top right. So it's kind of like a UX thing where if people are used to something, then you want to provide them with that same experience, right?
What doesn't change every page?
Oh, the nav bar. That's probably why. So yeah, so if regardless of where you're navigating, it'll be there.
If your nav bar holds the wallet.
Thank you, Greg.
I don't think we do. Greg, I love your site. If the nav bar holds the state of your credentials or the top level of your wallet, then whatever page you go into has access to that. That's
Yeah,
kind of
sure,
like a
sure,
design. So with these, it's when we were building a lot of these and trying to figure out how do you build these silly dApps, it was like, well, you haven't logged in account,
Mm-hmm.
but then you always need access to it because if you do a transaction on any page, the transaction has to be signed by the wallet. So you always have to get back to MetaMask somehow. So a lot of the kind of like design pattern is you put the wallet in some kind of top level component because it's always
So
there.
it's always like there. You have access
so you
to
always
it all
have
the time.
access to it.
I mean, maybe I did this wrong, or maybe this is the right way of doing it, but yeah, I was like pulling it through the nav bar, and then I was using that as like kind of like a top level state component. Usually I'd probably like in a bigger app, probably be using like a reducer, like Redux or something. But yeah, it was like a top level state component here, which is like set query address. No, where user, yeah, set user. So this is the one that's logged in, which is different from your query address because I can be logged in but make a different query. So those have to be two different types of state. But yeah, I just pass it in as props, and then I just change that piece of state within the actual component itself. Not sure if that's the best way about going about it, but that's what I did. It works, so I'm happy. But not load optimized, mind you. So I'll try to get a little bit better on that one. But yeah, so yeah, that's basically it. So woohoo.
Awesome.
Namdar, I believe you are up, sir.
Dar Banks. This thing doesn't want to come off. I got sweaty hands.
Do you want to do like talk for me?
Oh, hi. Oh, you want me to do presenting for you? Okay, here we go. Want to get that? No, you can talk yourself, bro. Check yourself before you wreck yourself, bro. Nice. Yeah, there you are, sir. Cool.
So I'll show the NFT indexer since Bapic did the ERC20.
And, can you full screen it? Awesome.
What is it? Oh, clip my mic. Sorry. There's requirements. Okay. Can you guys hear me?
Nice, yeah.
All right. So let me connect to MetaMask. So once you connect to MetaMask, it shows your address, and then you click Fetch NFTs. The NFTs that weren't able to show, thanks to Cloud, was because they're actually stored on IPFS rather than on Pinata. So if you look at the URL, it's like IPFS. So you need to have IPFS downloaded for it to show. And so you had to do like, yeah. I tried to do like an image. I'm gonna do bapic.eth. That's cool. This will show Bapic's thing.
Big bags.
And if I type in something,
Dude, that was like the cheapest one.
if I type in garbage, it will say Cloud says enter a valid address. It also says Cloud was here. I don't think it was.
I had minimal effect on this.
He was all over. Yeah, I think that's it.
Show us the code.
Oh, code. This is the code. I didn't do the navbar thing. I kind of had it on the same page. I just had one React single app page, but this is the function that handles the wallet. I try to clear state every time I was doing anything, because that was like clearing stuff up. This is the function that's actually getting the NFTs, clearing state once you click the button, and then checks to see if it's a valid address, checks to see if .eth is in there. This is the alert if you enter a wrong address. And then, yeah, this is where the data is being stored and then being rendered, all in this garbage.
Nice.
Yeah, I think he went through a lot of. Do I know the difference?
Sorry, no. Do you make a distinction of what gets loaded on your NFT site?
No,
No, okay.
no. I'm just loading everything.
That might be good, just whether or
To
not it's
add.
11:55 or
Or
7:21.
721. Okay.
What was the trickiest part of this project for you?
That's a good question. I think the trickiest part was probably getting the MetaMask to connect properly, because there was a lot of errors between. Oh, sorry. So like connecting MetaMask and then like fetching it and then typing in like someone else. Sorry, butterfly keys. Like doing that switch and being able to transition while clearing state was probably the trickiest part. But once you remembered to like clear state, it would start working. And then this was kind of tricky to get to, image not found. Yeah, like a default image. Mike?
Great job. Let's give it up for Namdar.
Question.
Sorry, guys. I can't see back here.
Nothing too complicated.
Do you mind explaining? You got the mic there. Do you mind explaining? Is it on? Push it up. Is that E or G? Hello.
Yay.
All right. Do you mind explaining the Pinata IPFS image error again?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
So I can do it for. Okay, so if we go to inspect, click on. So if we follow through.
Yeah, use the top left arrow. Top left one. You can like
Which one?
click on the thing you want to use. Top left.
Top left.
No.
Where? Here?
Yeah. There we go. Yeah, that one.
Oh,
and then
no.
click on the element you want.
Oh, nice. Oh, that's sick. You learn something new every day. So if you look at the console log, it's this. And so if you try to enter that here, it just kind of doesn't work.
So Brave does it, but it will still take 5 minutes. So.
Yeah. So the trick is, I think you have to do, what was it? It was ipfs.io/ipfs, like that. And then so that works. And so you have to kind of like, every time you get the object and you have the data, you have to like read it and then see what the URL is, and then pre-append this little highlighted section to it so that it could render properly. I didn't have the time.
And so if it was on Pinata, then you're able to see the image.
Yeah, so if you look at these ones, for example, click on the left. These are like just regular HTTPs. So if you like.
Actually, those are also IPFS. Take the input too.
Yeah, but because it has this like pinata.cloud, I think it can render it easier. Yeah, Pinata hosts a gateway for you.
Does anyone know if you would have that same problem if you were using Arweave?
If I was using Arweave?
Yeah. It's
I'm
not
not sure
a
that
question
is.
totally directed to you, but just anyone
Oh,
else
okay.
if
Thank
they've
God.
used Arweave.
I don't know. I used it a little bit. I don't think they have gateways. I'm not quite sure. I don't have a good answer. But
You have a good
Right.
jacket.
Thanks. I know Arweave is like, I don't know if they have gateways, but I know they're more HTTP based. So I don't think they actually have their own like internet protocol that IPFS invented, IPFS, protocol, whatever. So I think you wouldn't have that problem because they're strictly using HTTP as the protocol. But I don't know enough detail about Arweave to answer.
The IPFS.
Except Chad back there. Dang. All right, stand corrected. I just said that so that he could tell me how many people were watching this. The problem I was having was it wasn't that it couldn't resolve IPFS. It couldn't resolve it in the time in which it was trying to render or the call. So it basically timed out. And if you try any of these links on Brave, which has an IPFS gateway, it will take a while, and sometimes even the browser call will time out. So if Arweave can render or return before the timeout period, it would probably be okay, but that would depend on the reason why it works with Pinatas, because they're resolving that for you much faster.
You can also get a dedicated gateway with Pinata, so you pay more, but you have your own gateway, and that allows for a lot more throughput.
So the question is, why do the buffercorns, which are on IPFS, don't ruin it, render, and not the rug store? It's because the buffercorns aren't on IPFS. They're on S3.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You can see the link right there. Amazon Web Services.
You say that, but yet they render, so I don't know, what do you want? Does everybody know why you would use IPFS for this stuff?
Decentralized.
You say decentralized, but it doesn't mean anything. You're just telling me words.
So my answer to that would be the reason to use IPFS is that it's not the address that you submit to the blockchain, which you can't change. You can't ever change that, right? So it's immutable. Does not link to some content that is tied to some provider like AWS, which could go down, could change. Amazon could go out of business, etc. Whereas in IPFS, what you're linking to is an address to the content itself, which could be hosted anywhere. So IPFS distributes your data across the network and addresses your data based on its content itself. So if it's on your computer, you can access it. If it's on someone else's computer, it doesn't matter. If it's on AWS, for example, you can always access it from them. But the moment they go down and
they stop deciding
they stop deciding to host it, you can still place that content in another location. So it's not location-based addressing, it's content-based addressing. So that's the best answer I can kind of give. What's the caveat? Yeah. So you're still not going to get free like permanence on the web just by using IPFS. Like it's not going to just magically be present, right? You still have to host it somewhere. So it has to be on someone's computer. And you have to pin it in the sense that when you pin, that's just an IPFS term. That means that you're permanently storing that information versus just caching it temporarily. And you're deciding to host it, kind of like seeding in BitTorrent, right? So you don't want to just be like, hey, I fetch this data here, I share it with other people, then my cache is full, I'm going to throw away some other data. So pinning allows you that permanence, right?
Thank you, Bapic. I think those are great points. I would argue that that is not why IPFS is used.
Oh.
Yeah.
What is?
Why is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, why?
Are you asking me?
Yeah, look
you.
at what you have. Look at what you have highlighted.
I have the QID highlighted.
Yeah, what is that?
That's the IP, the unique address for this image.
Right. How is that generated?
I think through the image itself.
Is it a hash of the content itself?
Exactly. So this will always be that hash. And when you put it into, so when you did on-chain NFTs, like some of these other projects will root the actual hashes in the contract, they'll never change. And you mentioned this, like that it's hashed, it's content addressable. So the idea is like if I own this, it will always resolve to that on IPFS. It won't ever change. And if it doesn't resolve to that, it's not mine. So if I buy it, I own that like hash, and then I can prove one that I own it, and two that it is always that, and no one can change it. If it gets changed, it will be content addressable to a different hash. A bit, but it's just that I will always resolve to that, and it needs to be pinned so I can, decentralization as far as representation is one thing, but I think the idea with this stuff was if you wanted to prove that you actually own the content, and if the content changes, it won't resolve to what you say it will resolve to. So I think probably there are some very good arguments for that was being the case because it's decentralized and you don't want to, we're trying to get away from AWS, but at the same time, because it's content addressable, that's my image, and it always will point to this particular hash, CID. So just offer that as well. Because if AWS goes down and I just store 4653.png somewhere else, I can change what 4653.png actually is, and you're like, well, you changed it, and I'm like, well, you still own 4653. It's just it's a different image now. I own what I own is 4653.png. That's what I own.
Or even if you just go on the So the point of not only that AWS going down being a valid point, but even if AWS stayed up, but you went on their servers and you just replaced that image of 4653 with another more rare NFT and say, okay, now I own that one, right? There's no link to the address and the content itself. Oh, that one's pretty cool. Yeah. Oh, was that a different number? Yeah, no, it's a different number. That's why. But the point is you can change out the content without affecting the address, and that means that you don't have like a cryptographic proof between what's on-chain versus what's off-chain. And so IPFS gives you that sort of security or guarantee. Yeah.
Let's get it for Namdar, guys.
Thank you.
Are you going to ETH Denver, sir?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Actually, who is not going to ETH Denver? It's like 50-50. Cloud, you're going. What are you talking about? Come on, man. All right. I think you're up, Toby. So Toby's got 3,500 slides for you today, but they're really good. And this is the last bit of the course. So we like to cheer everybody on. So let's give it up for Toby for the last week of slides. Thank you, Toby.
Thank you.
If you guys want to grab coffee while Toby gets ready, we can take like a 2-3 minute break, and then we'll get into the slides.
No, man, let's get, yeah. Time is money. Get to it. 44, you didn't tell me we got people. Hey, Greg.
How's it going?
Good, how are you?
I'm alright.
Good.
On the tired side, but
Yeah. Were you burning? Burning oil?